This is Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by the head of Wasserman Boxing, Kalle Sauerland. Kalle, you're off on your summer holidays and a massive fight breaks out. What's going on?
Well, it's been a crazy week, a badly timed week in terms of holidays. There ain't been much holiday. It's been work. But delighted to get it over the line, of course. And it's such a huge fight, and the word huge isn't the right word. I think we've done lots of big fights in the past, unifications, heavyweight world championships. This one, there's no belt on the line. It's all about legacy, and it's all about, it's an iconic fight. It's a fight that I don't think any, I think Eddie would probably say the same. He's never been involved in a fight like this. I definitely haven't been involved in a fight like this. And I don't think there's many fights that you could compare to this, because it's almost 30 years in the making, and it's I remember being a teenager and falling back in love with boxing. I fell out of love in boxing because I was spoon fed it as a toddler, and in my before I hit double digits of age, and then I sort of fell back in love with boxing, I guess, watching the dads do their business in the 90s, so it's sort of come full circle, and I think the reaction is bigger than I've seen for any event before. That includes, I don't know, monster events like, I don't know, Klitschko, Hay, or Groves, Froch, Big Groves, Eubank, dare I say, Harrison Hay, but no,
you said it.
Those are big UK blockbusters we've been involved in over the years, but this eclipses it. It not in terms of, obviously, in terms of classical boxing. It's almost like, it's so iconic, and it took a long time to go over the line, and I think it was worth it.
Did your father have any dealings with either of the dads back in the day?
I think there was, because we had Rocky Jani as well, but not
at the time. Eubank came over, didn't he?
Eubank, he joined us. Well, he left us, joined us again. We joined forces after that fight again, and I think there was some discussions around a rematch on that fight. But no, I mean, we've obviously promoted Harlem Eubank as well. We were very proud to have promoted Seb Eubank at the time as well. So we've got a long history of promoting Eubanks, but never with senior. No, I've always just dealt with senior as in the capacity with his son, of course.
And when you signed Junior, the intention was to secure a world title shot ultimately at middleweight. When did it start becoming an option, a realistic option, that this fight could take place?
Well, I put out on Twitter, and it was a late night tweet, I'll admit that. But it was back in November when Conor won. It was October, November, to look at my Twitter timeline. I did put out there, in the not so distant future, and I never had to talk about it at all. And then I remember when Junior fought Williams at the start of the year, Conor came out, and I was like, well, is this sort of, is he jumping on the back of this, of the Eubank hype after he'd beaten Williams? And then it sort of went back and forth, didn't it, between them? And it was that point when I called, I don't know if Eddie called me or called Eddie, and said, I said, is it real? I spoke to Frank Smith as well, who's been very integral in getting this over the line as well. And we didn't know whether it was really an option, and when you look at it, of course, world titles are our goal, and I guess Team Benn's goal as well, but when a chance like this comes along, you take it with both hands in boxing. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that, and from that point of view, it's perfect timing, and I think that whoever wins or loses will still go on and try and achieve that dream with the world titles. I think it's completely separate to what's going on here on October the 8th.
It's been reported previous to this being confirmed that Eubank still had one fight left on his deal with Sky Sports. What's the situation with that? Was that just an option, or was that a confirmed thing, and they've let this happen? What's the deal?
No, we've gone our way, and we have discussions in the background taking place. I can't say more than that at the moment, but we have a great relationship with Sky, or always have done. There's not really much more to say than that. This is what we needed to get it done and end of.
Fair enough. On a kind of similar subject, you said about how long it's taken to get this over the line. What have been kind of the major stumbling blocks, or at least the ones you can talk about?
You got an hour or maybe three?
Yeah.
And, nothing out of the ordinary, because that's what it takes in big fights. I remember Klitschko Hay was craziness around so many different points, like length of walking, stuff like that. Wasn't really that detailed on this. Money's always an elephant in the room. There's there's no doubt about that. But it was on hindsight. It took a long time because also, first of all, the negotiations started a lot later than people made out. When it was announced that it was done, written correspondence at that time. So we can't take that as the starting line. So then you can look at, well, where's the finishing line and how long did it really take? It was complicated. It was difficult, a lot of long nights, but at the end of the day, there wasn't anything that I never thought that we wouldn't get it done. Everyone wanted it. Junior wanted it. From what I heard, Conor really wanted it. They both wanted it. And when you've got that situation, I was always confident of getting over the line.
Was it ever a sticking point whose name should come first in the fight? Because obviously it's on a Matchroom show officially, but it's Eubank's name first.
Well, I just quickly correct you there. It's 50-50 down the middle. Wasserman Boxing and match. That doesn't play a part though in whether it's Eubank or it's. I think, with all due respect to Conor, this isn't about the dads. Yeah, of course that's that storyline. If you look at the career, he's been in very big fights before, and Conor hasn't yet. Let's be honest. He hasn't been in the fights that Junior's been in. So that was something that we thought was appropriate, and they respectfully accepted that.
And with it being 50-50 down the middle, apologies for my misconception. Does that mean we'll get a lot of other Wasserman talent on the show? And could we see more Matchroom versus Wasserman fights?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is to absolutely match the undercard as much as we can between our stable and theirs. I always like getting one over on Eddie. So looking forward to that. We'll have if there's 6-7 fights on the undercard and we win 7 of them, I'll be very happy. But that is the intention. Yeah, absolutely. No, there'll be a great undercard. We've got a really good budget for it, and we're looking forward to putting that into good use and putting on some great fights on the night.
Is Harlem Eubank Dalton Smith too much to ask for?
That's a cracker. That's a cracker. It's actually funny enough. I've seen a list going about between Eddie and my brother. Who are doing sort of leading on the matchmaking. I haven't seen that one on there, but I will put that straight into the working group now.
I've got a feeling it'll be kind of too big for this. It'll be a main event in its own right, that one of those.
It is a big one. It is a big one. It's a big one that's building. I like it. I thought Dalton looked very good last week. Saw him live last year, boxing on our show in Austria. Very capable, very good boxer, very skillful. But Harlem is the man incoming. He's improving fight by fight. So he's got a right set on him up in Newcastle a couple of weeks ago. And he's improving massively every fight. So that will get made eventually, yeah.
Now, while we're not going to talk about the specific weight that the Ben Eubank or Eubank Ben has been made at, are you at all concerned? Because we know it's not 160. Are you at all concerned about Eubank having to come down at all from what he's used to and being not safe, but being strong at whatever weight it is?
Not at all. I mean, he came in at, I think, 159 against Williams, yeah. So without having to make 159. So you know, yeah, and we've put, you know, there's obviously rehydration clauses, and you know, everything will be revealed at the presser tomorrow in London. But yeah, it's done in a way that at the end of the day, you know, we're promoters. We can only put something that we think is fair, and but it's down to the fighter to agree on those terms and conditions. You know, that's, you know, we don't make the weight. We don't have to fight, you know, so you can only make suggestions and see that. I would never, ever, ever, ever push on a weight. It's the one thing I push on money, I push on sponsorship, I push on media appearances, I push on attending certain things to promote, but that's what we do. We don't fight, we promote. And you know, the conditions at what they fight at can never, ever get involved in that part. That's, for me, it crosses a moral line. You just don't go.
Now, while this might be another wait until the press conference for it to be revealed, I will ask. It's on the Zone pay-per-view. It'll be the second show on that platform after the KSI one at the end of the month. Is there a price point yet for that?
Actually not set yet. Could be revealed tomorrow. I can't even confirm that, but we're waiting to hear on that. I'm sure it will be very fair. I'm in the KSI. We're promoting the KSI event, and that's a very fair pricing point as well. Obviously, this is traditional boxing. It won't be as low as the.
I was going to say it's going to be more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, I think you know, it's one of those fights you could easily go massively up on the pay-per-view, but we're not going to do that. Absolutely not. That's also not the vision of what the owner and anticipating that's pricing it out. So I think it'll be very fair.
I spoke to Sam Jones earlier about Ben Eubank, amongst other things, or Eubank Ben. I've got to start getting that right in my head. And he said that this will be the biggest British fight of the year, over and above Brooke Khan, over and above Fury White. Would you go along with that? No pressure.
Oh, no. Well, I'll answer it in a neutral manner. I mean, it's one of those fights. I'm not saying it's bigger than the heavyweight championship of the world, right? But it's more iconic than it was. It's more iconic from the basis of the fact that this event will reach more people in terms of emotions, because you're gonna have your hardcore and be, you know, Conor Benn come through. They've been watching Eubank Jr for years now, but then you're gonna have a different demographic, and this demographic is, unfortunately, I'm going to put you in this group as well, but the plus 40s, who, let's face it, they watch them occasionally at an event, and if, you know, they sign very big, they might buy it, you know, but really, these are the ones who created those massive viewing numbers in the 90s, and their love for boxing, I hope, will, via this event, be reopened. If I tell you that I've had my doctor, I've had my my son's teachers, who have never ever asked me anything about boxing before, asked me, you know, is this event really happening? Is this true? Is it not? You know,
can I have some free tickets?
Throw that one in. It was more like, just, it's happening. And I'm like thinking, how do you even know about it? You know, and just the hype before. It's that's the part of what I would say, absolutely. So, and I don't want people to shoot me down and say, oh, the other one's heavyweight championship. Yeah, I'm totally getting that. On a sporting level, I go with Fury White, because it's the heavyweight championship of the world, absolutely mandatory as well. So, one against the champion, can't beat that in the sport. But this is iconic. It's something that you can't create with rankings. It's something that you can't create with fake hype. It's something that you can't create with, you know, guys coming out of retirement or whatever. This is about legacy, and we say that a lot in boxing, don't we?
Sure.
I mean, it is.
This one actually is, yeah. I mean, I've got to say, I'm only just in the 40+ category. I'll turn 41 next week. But the first fight I ever saw live as a teenager was Nigel Benn against Gerald McClellan at the old London Arena. I think it was, or the New Den, it might have been. One of the two. And that was obviously tragic consequences, but an absolutely mesmeric event. How involved can we expect the two dads to be in the build-up?
listen, there's nothing contractually set on it, so for like the Benn side, I can't even comment. It wouldn't be my place to comment on it. On the Eubank side, I don't know. You know, senior is has been such an important part of Junior's career, always will be. He's always gets so. I mean, you know, he's a great dad. He really gets behind his son, and you know, in what way, shape, and form that's between father and son. And as a promoter, obviously, I welcome it. You know, we're not going to say no. You know, absolutely. You know, he's a great promoter in himself. Senior is such a character, a great character for the sport, and you know, still one of the most recognisable faces in boxing. Down the high street with him, and you'll get pulled over more than you will with many.
But when you say pulled over,
yeah, I mean, no, I meant pulled over.
You still got the tank. Yeah,
tank. Or the old truck. I remember the truck back in the day. That was, you know, but this is what we grew up on. You know, I'm a little bit more into my 40s, so
you wear it well, though. You wear it well.
I'm trying to. But you know, at the end of the day, it's stuff that, like you say, you remember that like it probably like it was yesterday. Yeah? And a lot of people who don't have the daily contacts of boxing like you and me do, and those are the people that I think this will appeal to like no other fight. You know, we could talk about, you know, obviously, you know, if it ever happens, you know, Fury Joshua, of course, that's massive. But goes to say that there's some people we will reach with this that fight wouldn't. You know, I really believe that it's something that people have totally got disinterested with boxing. That was a time when boxing in the 90s or 3-2 era was at its peak. If you look at numbers, I'm not talking about the finances of the business or that the events are doing great in the UK at the moment or anything else, or the industry is flying or whatever. I'm talking about numbers and people who, you know, this was, you know, bigger than football, you know, in the UK, the numbers. And that's something that hasn't happened again since then. And there will be people that are totally disinterested in boxing now who will be tuning in on October the 8th to see these people do it.
With that in mind, with the commercial potential and the wide reach, is there a rematch clause? Could this flow on? Could it even be a trilogy?
I believe that this one doesn't require one, because if it's a great fight, it will happen. Either way, it will happen again, because that's what they do.
Great stuff. Kalle, really appreciate your time. I'm going to let you get out of the doghouse for interrupting the family holiday yet again.
The doghouse I'm in is so deep that I can't see the front door.
Yeah. I'm sure they won't mind when you fly back for the press conference tomorrow as well.
Got a nice 5 a.m. Looking forward to that. That'll be good.
Enjoy.
Very.
Well, I appreciate you finding some time for me anyway. And yeah, enjoy what's left of it and enjoy the presser tomorrow.